Blog Talk Radio.
Good morning. Hi, this is Dr. Neil Kobrin, and today I'll be reading from my book, Emotional Well-Being, Embracing the Gift of Life. Chapter 2, Thoughts and Feelings. It is certainly true that our thoughts influence the feelings we are having in any given moment. If we are reflecting about something lovely that has happened in the past, or we're imagining something positive will happen in the future, we're likely to feel good in the present moment. If we are fretting about something negative that has occurred, or if we are fretting about something negative that has occurred, or we are stressing about what will happen in the future, then we're likely to feel uncomfortable in the moment. There's a crude saying that's applicable to this process. If you have one foot in the past and one foot in the future, you piss on the present. Let's look a bit more closely at the relationship between thoughts and feelings. Imagine that you have a good friend, but lately you've been having trouble with this friend. In recent times, your friend has been less responsive to you and is always late when meeting you. As a result, you have built up a considerable amount of resentment. Each time your friend arrives late, you feel discounted and not important enough for your friend to arrive on time. The two of you have made dinner plans. You're to meet at a certain agreed-upon restaurant at a predetermined time. Due to the recent problem you've been having in the relationship, you're a bit apprehensive about this engagement. However, this has been a long-term friendship, and you are somewhat ambivalent about your feelings. On the one hand, it bothers you that you've been treated in a manner that leaves you feeling less significant in this relationship. On the other hand, you feel somewhat petty about the way you feel, constantly trying to convince yourself that it's no big deal. As is your pattern, you arrive at the restaurant 15 minutes early and announce your arrival to the hostess. The hostess seats you at your table, and there you sit, awaiting the arrival of your friend. The minutes tick by, and at the prearranged time, your friend once again does not arrive. You take a deep breath and decide to give your friend a reasonable leeway of 20 minutes. 20 minutes comes and goes. You get up from the table and decide to leave. However, the thought crosses your mind that if you don't wait for your friend to confront this situation, you never will. You sit yourself down fuming and wait. 30 minutes go by, then 40, then 50. And finally, 1 hour after the prearranged time, your friend walks in. You are furious and prepared to share your fury. Your friend arrives at the table and says, "Please, before you say anything, let me explain. I know that I've been less of a friend to you than I should be, or that I have been in the past. I know that I've been late to everything we've done together, and I can sense that this has been bothering you. And frankly, it's been bothering me as well. So much so, I've been working on this very issue with my therapist, trying to understand what's going on with me. This night was to be different. I left my house an hour and a half early, not only to get here on time, but to get here early enough to buy you flowers from the vendor next door and apologize for my behavior. As I was driving here, there was a horrible accident on the freeway, right in front of me. A young lady was killed in a head-on collision with a drunk driver. It's all over the news, right in front of me. I got out of my car and I saw her there, just lying lifeless in this totally smashed-up car. It was horrific. The cops came, closed down the freeway while the ambulance took her away, as well as the other guy who apparently suffered only minor injuries. I'm so sorry, and I'll make every effort to treat you better in the future." How do you think your earlier feelings of rage and fury may have changed as a result of what was said? I would imagine that your emotions would have changed considerably, from rage to compassion, from fury to appreciation. But what actually occurred to change your emotions? You simply received new information. This information influenced your thoughts and changed the context in which you experienced your friend's behavior, which then guided you to feel another way. This process works in reverse too. That is to say, how you feel in any given moment can skew your thoughts considerably. People who are depressed have far more negative thoughts than people who are not. regardless of the information they receive from the world. Here's a little trick that can help distinguish feelings from thoughts. If you can replace the word feel in a sentence with the word think, and the sentence is grammatically correct, then we are most likely having a thought, not a feeling. For example, consider the following sentence. I feel that you don't love me. If we replace the word feel with the word think, this sentence will read as follows. I think that you don't love me. As you can see, this sentence is grammatically correct. Therefore, we've had a thought, not a feeling. Let's try it in reverse. Consider the following sentence. I feel sad. Replace the word with the feel with the word think, and it's not grammatically correct sentence. I think sad. People often confuse their thoughts with their feelings, and their feelings with their thoughts. This trick is a simple way to keep them straight. Feeling context. Emotions have a contextual base. Emotions spring forth from a feeling context that is either anxious or non-anxious, and this context can vary by degrees of intensity. An anxious feeling context will elicit certain emotions that will be different than a non-anxious feeling context. The intensity of these feelings will depend on the level of anxiousness. In other words, emotions stem from a feeling context that is either anxious or non-anxious, and this context exists on a continuum from mild to intense. Below is a sample list of emotions that can be elicited based on the feeling context. Anxious feeling contexts include anger, aversion, hate, insecurity, fear, paranoia. Non-anxious feeling contexts include joy, love, compassion, calm, happiness, security. Essentially, our feeling context sets the stage for the type of emotional experience we will have. If we are in a non-anxious, calm place, we are much more open to experiences of joy, happiness, love, compassion, serenity, and security. If we are in an anxious place, we are much more prone to emotions such as anger, fear, hatred, paranoia, aversion, and insecurity. As adults, we can influence this process. For example, our environment may impact us negatively and move us into an anxious place. However, we have the capacity to alter our environment in such a way to move us into a non-anxious place. By environment, I do not only mean our external environment, but our internal environment as well, our thoughts and feelings. We may begin in an anxious place, but because of certain actions we take, such as calming the body through breathing, or becoming aware of our thought patterns, simply observing them rather than engaging them, being mindful, or exercising or communing with nature, or connecting deeply with someone, we can move into a space of non-anxiety. The difference between us as adults and us as infants is that we have the capacity to move ourselves into a different emotional space. Infants are dependent on an external environment to make the shift from an anxious place to a non-anxious place, while we as adults are not. We can learn methods that can help us shift from an anxious place to a non-anxious place. We can change the way we feel by virtue of what we do to move us to a place of equanimity, an evenness of mind that is balanced and centered. Eastern philosophy takes a similar view of this process and talks about primary feelings and secondary feelings. Primary feelings are feeling tones that are either pleasant, non-anxious, painful, anxious, or neutral. Secondary feelings arise out of these feeling tones and create the emotional fabric of our life. Through practicing mindfulness, we can work with these feelings to modify the power they hold over our life experience. When our emotions result from a non-anxious feeling context, we are expansive. We expand into experiences such as happiness, calm, and love. When our emotions result from an anxious feeling context, we contract, which leads us to experiences based in fear and anxiety. The mindful way, emotional regulation. Close your eyes. Bring your awareness to your breath. Bring your awareness to where you feel the breath most strongly in your body. Maybe in your nose, your chest, your belly, or somewhere else. Just be aware of breathing in and breathing out. Rest your awareness there. Now bring your awareness to an experience in which you are emotionally reactive. Allow yourself to experience this event in the present moment. Let yourself simply feel the experience. Recognize the emotion that you are feeling. For example, anger, fear, etc. Accept this emotion. Do not judge it or censor it. Investigate this emotion. Explore the emotion. What indication tells you you're experiencing this emotion? Where do you feel it in your body? What does it feel like? Non-identify with this emotion. Say to yourself, this is not who I am. This is simply something I am feeling. Now imagine yourself dealing with this situation differently. Imagine that you are simply an observer of these events. What do you see? How does this view change your perspective? How does it feel? Let yourself simply feel the experience. When you're ready, simply open your eyes. The next time you find yourself reacting to a situation, recall this experience. Change your view of the situation from a participant to an observer. Let yourself center in your body. Take a breath and let cooler minds prevail.